Hello, everyone. I am just wanted to hop on here real quick to give a quick little update. I know it's been a little while since my last video, and the reason for that is twofold. One, I went on vacation for about 2 weeks in Michigan. Got to see some of my family and friends. It was really fun, but I wasn't able to make content while I was there. And then also, we moved apartment buildings right when I came back to Arizona. So that is why the kind of delay in between videos. Now, I do have one set. I'm currently in the process of researching the next story of video, which is going to be of the Cincinnati Bengals, but I will not tell you the year. That's a surprise for the video. But yeah, it's going to be really fun. I'm doing that at the moment. But because of that, those videos take a very long time to make. I haven't really had many opportunities to make videos. However, this is not just going to be an update video. I do have something to talk about, and it's specifically around the preseason and the Los Angeles Rams. I, as many of you know who watched this channel last year, am a mostly a Detroit Lions fan, or at least I have been because that's where I grew up, and I love Matthew Stafford. So being on the Lions for nearly a decade, or over a decade actually, obviously I have a very strong attachment to the Lions. However, they've burned me so many times over the years, whether that be 2011 when they got to the playoffs for the first time in my lifetime and sucked, or that be 2014 where they got screwed by the refs in a stupid Dallas Cowboys game that will be a video upcoming relatively shortly, or that be the absolutely disaster of 2015 right after that year, where I thought everything was going in the right direction, or the disastrous tenure of Matt Patricia and Dan Quinn. Just an absolute era of the Lions football that is quintessential Detroit Lions ineptitude. And last year, they made it all the way. It's the best year they've had in a very long time, and made it all the way to the NFC Championship game. And I was so excited, at least for them, for that opportunity for them to maybe finally make it into a Super Bowl. And if it would have been one thing if they would have just lost that game outright to the 49ers, because 49ers are a very good team, and I would understand not quite having the talent level to match them. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened. They had the lead. They were the better team the first half of that game. That's the thing with Detroit, though, man. They reel you in. They suck you in. Of like, finally we get to go to the Super Bowl. We're gonna get the rematch with the Chiefs, and it's gonna be on the big stage. And then they absolutely shit the bed the second half of that game. Mostly on the defensive side, some baffling, not great fourth down decisions that I did not like. And so, me being a Lions fan, or at least, like I said, historically, I've just had enough. I still care about the Lions, and I still want them to succeed for the city's sake. But in terms of like actively rooting for them, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. It's been, how long have I been alive? 21 years of futility. And I have decided that, that's enough. Now, yes, I made a lot of videos about the Lions last year, but as I also said in those videos, I actually watched the Los Angeles Rams a little bit more in terms of their actual games because of Matthew Stafford. Because, like I said, he's my favorite quarterback of all time. And when he left for LA and then immediately won a Super Bowl, that whole year was awesome for me as a fan. So I have an attachment to the Los Angeles Rams, and I've been watching them more the last 3 years than I have the Lions anyway. And this gets back around to the topic of this video, which is the Rams preseason. First off, I hate the way that Sean McVay runs preseason. The fact that he just doesn't play anyone, even if they're, even backups he won't play most of the time. He's not playing any of the rookie defensive linemen that they drafted, like Jared Verse. He's not playing Byron Young, who's not a rookie, but he's a second-year guy. It would be nice to kind of see him out there, at least for a couple snaps. And I realize injuries are a problem, and he wants to protect his guys. I understand that. But he doesn't even coach some of the games. Like week 2 this year, he let his offensive assistant coach the game. He was up in the press booth doing who knows what. He did that last year too. He let somebody run a game, and it's a complete waste of time. Anyway, they have not played Matthew Stafford. I'm not surprised by that, and I also do not want Stafford to play in the preseason. But they haven't played Garoppolo either, even though he's not suspended until the first 2 weeks. So he could have played this preseason, but he didn't. Instead, the first 2 weeks, they played Stetson Bennett, the former Georgia Bulldog. Bennett last year played in the preseason and then disappeared from the team. Obviously he wasn't going to play a game if Stafford was healthy. So that's not the surprising part, but the surprising part is like he wasn't even at practice. He wasn't around the team at all. Nobody knew why he left. There's been rumors about, maybe a rehab for alcohol, or maybe, some kind of injury that they were hiding up. There's been a bunch of stuff, but nothing's been confirmed. Last preseason, though, let me read you some of his stats here. In the 3 games that he played, he had a 58 completion percentage for 347 yards, 1 touchdown to 3 interceptions, with a QBR of 59. So not good. He didn't play necessarily great, but he is a rookie and it is preseason. So, you get a little bit of a pass, and obviously he wasn't going to see much of the field anyway. But it's kind of a thing of like, okay, once Stafford retires, is Bennett good enough to be a bridge quarterback? This year, he comes back out, and week 1 of the preseason throws 4 interceptions against the Dallas Cowboys. Each of them terrible, horrible throws, and actually threw a 5th that should have counted, but it was just the Dallas Cowboys happened to get called a penalty on that play. Otherwise, there would have been a 5th. He played awful. He looked terrible, but he had 1 good throw, and of course, it's the very end of the game-winning touchdown pass, which genuinely, this is a very good throw. Very, being able to get out of the pocket, and a very impressive throw from, the opposite side of his throwing arm. And then week 2, he also looks terrible against the Chargers. Did not play well, pretty much at all, but he threw another pick. But again, he had 1 good pass, and again, it was the game-winning touchdown, kind of an over-the-top throw, to a wide receiver that probably won't play at all this year. But it was a good-looking throw, and it was a deep ball. So he's, I guess, good for 1 pass a game. But he played the entirety of those first 2 games. I believe week 3, which is happening as I'm filming this, I do not believe he is playing, because he's, I guess, going to be the backup to Stafford the first 2 weeks while Garoppolo is suspended. But I hope to God he doesn't see the field at all, because he is not good. In this preseason, in the 2 games he's played, he is a ever so slightly better completion percentage. Instead of 58, it's 59. He has 437 yards, so a little bit more than last year, but only 1 more touchdown. And he had 3 interceptions his first preseason. He has 5 in this one. And his QBR is actually lower than it was last year. He is not a good quarterback. I really, really hope he does not see the field in any meaningful capacity. Really ever, but especially this year. And it's already the Rams, they won the Super Bowl in 2021. 2022, they had the everything was a disaster year, a very rough schedule in terms of like a lot of tough competition, and then everyone got injured. Cooper Kupp was injured most of that year. Matthew Stafford was out, and as soon as Stafford goes down, on any team he's ever been on, that means they immediately suck. It doesn't matter if it's in Detroit or LA. Aaron Donald got hurt that year. Just no kind of offensive cohesion or defensive cohesion for that matter that year. Absolute train wreck of a year that was only kind of saved by beating the hell out of the Broncos on Christmas. And then the Raiders, the Baker Mayfield Raider game. Those were the only two highlights of that season for the Rams. 2023, everyone wrote them off. They thought they were going to be terrible, and then they were going to replace Stafford. And then he turns around and has maybe his best 6-7 game stretch of his entire career and leads them on a massive winning streak at the end of the year to get into the playoffs. And then they lose, unfortunately, to the Lions, but fantastic game played by Matthew in that one. And the offense was not the problem last year at all. And then you go into this preseason, and it's been a more or less a disaster in terms of injuries. Matthew Stafford is dealing with hamstring tightness, which is a problem. Then you have like half of the offensive line is either suspended, as in Alaric Jackson, or slightly injured, which is not great. Puka Nacua got hurt at one point. I think he's okay, but it was like some type of knee injury. It was like a bruised knee or something because he landed awkwardly. Some of the defensive players got injured. And I'm just hoping it's not like a Star Trek thing. Like, you know how Star Trek is like every other movie is good, and then the ones in between are bad. It feels like that for the Rams, where like odd number years, so 2021, 2023, they're good. Even number years, apparently it's injury prone. I really hope that's not true for the regular season, because Stafford's getting up there in age, and if they have any shot of doing anything in the playoffs before he retires, it's gotta be these next, year, maybe two. But yeah, that's just wanted to throw out some type of preseason analysis to kind of get a video out. Now, I have one more update before this episode comes to an end, and if you've stuck through this whole thing, thank you. It's been no script, just off the top of my head, which I don't usually do on this channel. But one last thing. I am starting a brand new podcast with one of my friends, Jacob. It's going to be an NFL podcast. It's going to be called Two for the Win. We're filming the first episode actually in 2 days from when I'm recording this. We're filming it on a Monday. I am not 100% sure when it will go up. I'm assuming Tuesday or Wednesday, but I'm not positive. Anyway, I am very, very excited for that. I will wait to post this video until we have that up. I will link the Spotify for that podcast in the description down below, as well as the YouTube channel. Where we will not be having actual visuals for the first little bit of the podcast, so we can kind of settle into it. But we will be having video eventually, but it will be audio only for the first little bit. But it will still be going up on YouTube. At the very least, a highlight video will be going up on YouTube. If you're interested in that, check it out in the description down below. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next scripted video. Until then, check out that podcast down below, and have a good day. Goodbye.